I've got great memories of this place because when I was your age, I used to come here 2 or 3 times a week, and I used to play snooker in there. I used to play basketball in the gym next door. I used to play football. Chemist was the man in charge of the men then in those days. And what a lot of these people are saying, these people who have become great football players and great entertainers and great boxers, is how much being in a place like this has given them confidence. It makes friends amongst yourselves. It gives you skills like playing football, playing basketball, learning discipline and everything else, which really helps you then right throughout your life. So those early days when I was in the men, playing those sports and meeting people like yourself, it gave me confidence and the belief that I could be good at something in my life, you know, and that the same applies to you.
Do you know when you started doing the long jump, where did you first start to train?
On sports day, I used to do the long jump, the 100 yards and the relay, because I was a rugby player and football player. But on sports day, we used to have a long jump pit alongside a rugby pitch in Nantymoel, and that's where I started to do the long jump. And then my teacher, he thought that I had talent and that I could be good at this. And then I was lucky enough to meet a very good coach, and he helped me to do it. But it all started here in Nantymoel alongside the rugby pitch, which is good.
What did it feel like to compete in a major sporting event like this?
The first thing is it's fantastic to be picked to compete. Every athlete and sports person would love to compete in the Olympic Games, wouldn't they? It's the pinnacle of sporting achievement, and that was my ambition. But when you get to the Olympics, you're very nervous. You wonder if you can do well because you're on television. There's lots of people watching you. But of course, I practiced a lot and I trained a lot, so I was used to this kind of thing. But it's a great experience, to travel. And I thought with a bit of luck, I might make the final, the top 12. But on the day itself in Tokyo, you had never seen rain like it. It rained, and there was wind, and the runway was covered in water. But of course, I was a little bit used to these conditions because when I trained in Wales, I had lots of wind and lots of rain and everything else, so it really helped me. But it was a huge surprise to win the gold medal because I wasn't the favourite to win it. And can you imagine, you know, going to the Olympics and then winning the gold medal? It's a great feeling. A good memory. There are 2 memories really. One was a very famous singer, and there's a photograph of him out there. His name was Frankie Vaughan, and he had a very famous hit called Green Door. You would remember it. But Frankie Vaughan was like, he was like the top singer in Britain and world famous. And he did a lot to help the boys clubs, Frankie Vaughan. And he came here in about 1958, 1960. And I wanted his autograph. And he was really famous. And I waited outside there, and there were hundreds of people in the MEM, and there were hundreds of people out there in the street who wanted to see him. And I didn't get his autograph. And I was really disappointed. But that was one good memory. And the other good memory was when I came back, not too many years later, with my gold medal, there were hundreds of people around here, and they wanted my autograph.
Yeah.
That's a nice little story, isn't it? I wanted a famous autograph, and then a few years later, people wanted my autograph. So that was quite a nice memory.
What was your association with them?
With the MEM, I was a member, I guess, for the best part of 10 years. Before, almost before, I went to grammar school. But it was while I was in grammar school that me and my friends from Nantymoel used to come here 2 or 3 nights a week, and then we used to meet up, and we'd have tea or coffee, and then there were 3 snooker tables in there. You've got 4 pool tables now, but there were 3 snooker tables. And of course the gym next door. So as I said, we used to play football and basketball and touch rugby. We couldn't play full rugby, it was too tackling each other in there would be tough, wouldn't it? But yeah, so that was my association with the MEM all those years ago.
What age did you start to do your long jump?
I guess it's like, you know, when you do things, you have a go at this and you have a go at that. When I did the long jump, I was quite good at it, and my PE teacher thought if this lad practices and trains, he could be very good at doing the long jump. And I used to do the 100-metre sprint as well. So from the rugby, from Nantymoel, I went to Cardiff and took part in the Glamorgan Secondary Schools Athletics Championships. And I won that. So it was obvious now that I had some talent. And then I met a coach, a chap called Ron Pickering, many, many years ago. And he helped me to sort of learn about the technique of long jump, how to run properly, how to jump properly. And that's how it all started.
How did it feel when you were up on that podium when you won gold medal in the national anthem?
I know, that was, I mean, that was an incredible feeling to stand there. And on my left-hand side was a guy called Ralph Boster, and he was an American. And on the right-hand side there was a guy, and he had a great name, his name was Igor Ter-Ovanesyan. It's a good name. And he was Russian. But these two were the favourites to win. So when I was standing there, and I was held the gold medal, I shook hands with them, and then looked at the flag, British flag going up. It took a long time to realise that I'd won, because it's like, it was so unreal. It was like a dream, you know. And it was a few days before it actually sunk in. Well, now Lynn, you've actually won the Olympic gold medal. To do the long jump, you've got to be a good sprinter. So I used to do the 100 yards, 100 metres as well. And then in Tokyo, I also did the relay, the last leg of the relay. So I did 3 events: the 100 metres, the long jump, and the relay.
How did you get chosen to compete in the Olympics?
In the Olympics, that's a good question as well. I won the school sports in Nantymoel, and then my PE teacher said, right, you have to go down to Cardiff and compete in the Glamorgan schools, the county championships. And I won those. And then they said, well, now having won the schools championships, you must compete in the Welsh championships. And I won that as well. So I was from there to there to there. And then, because I won the Welsh championships, I was invited to compete in London in the British Athletics Championships. And I won there as well. So if you win the British Championships, you can take 2 people per event. So in the long jump, you could take 2 people to Tokyo, and they took 2. So I went from schools champion to Welsh champion to British champion to the Olympic game.
Did you ever think you were going to win the Olympic gold medal?
No, I thought I would maybe make the final, 8 people, and with a little bit of luck, I might get the bronze medal, 3rd place. But as I said on the day, wind and rain, a bit of luck. So it's surprising what you do. If you set your goal and your target and you train hard and prepare for it, it's amazing what you can do in life, isn't it? For me, the important thing in sport, you've got to be physically fit. But I think more important than that is
Mentally.
Mental.
Yeah.
The psychology, the mental aspects of sport, which I think is very, very important. And what do you think are some of the qualities you need to be good at something in terms of mental qualities?
Self-belief. Self-belief.
Self-belief is absolutely number one, because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. So belief is that's a good one. Well done.
Just confidence.
Confidence is along. Yeah, if you have belief, you also then need the confidence to achieve that belief in yourself. So confidence and belief, that's 2 good ones. To say that to train every day, you need something which I call mental toughness. You've got to be mentally tough. To go out every day for 1 hour in the wind and the rain, it's okay on a day like today. So you need to be mentally tough as well. Any other sort of qualities?
Good attitude training, not miss a day.
A good attitude. So now we've got 4 qualities. We've got self-belief, we've got confidence, we've got mental toughness, and we've got a good attitude. Let's have one more.
You've got to be determined to do it.
Absolute determination. A really important word I always think about, and it's one of the most important words I think in terms of achieving anything in life, is perseverance. It's not giving up.
Never give up.
Never give up. Always persevere, because in life we all have what I call obstacles or hurdles or barriers or problems. But the important thing is to keep going. Because if you keep going for long enough, you will achieve your goal, no question about it. Because a lot of people with talent, they stop. And if you stop, you're never going to achieve what you can achieve. Yeah?
If it wasn't raining and windy, etc., do you think you would have jumped further?
That's a good question. I would have jumped further But I think the American and the Russian would have jumped even further than I did. The reason I thought I would get third and the bronze medal and not the gold medal is that the Russian had jumped 8 meters 35, world record, before Tokyo, and the American had jumped 8:35. So these guys were way ahead of me. But in those conditions, nobody could jump 8:35. So I was just lucky enough to jump 8:07, and that managed to win it. Yeah. So as I say, on the day, anything can happen. That's for me.
Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah.
And I thought you'd won it or something. Oh, thank you very much indeed. I said, oh, that's great. Thank you. Very sweet Tokyo 1964. Thank you very much. That's